Twisha Christian. A really quick update on Zion Oil and Gas, which is now ZNOG. It's in the OTC markets. And right now, it's at 22 cents. So it's been slowly rising since it went to OTC. Now, I thought that it would hang around 15 cents for a while, and then now it's going up. There's no news right now, but I will report to you exactly what's going on in somewhat of, I guess, a kind of a new time frame. All right, so a lot of you, just to answer this question, if you're on Robinhood or Webull, you did not lose your investment. If you're on any other trading platform, you did not lose your investment. You can still buy and sell Zion Oil on like E-Trade, TD Ameritrade, Merrill Lynch. But when it comes to your Robinhood and Webull, what I've done is I set a limit price. So once it hits that limit price, it'll sell whatever funds I have available then. After I sell, then I'll transfer them over to another platform. So basically, I'm just telling you what I'm doing. I'm not telling you to do any other way. There's a lot of different options out there. I'm not a financial advisor or anything like that. So there are different options. Some people can transfer. It'll cost you $75 to transfer your stocks. You don't have to do that. That's just one of the options. It just really depends what type of position that you're in. If you only have like 500 stocks, then you might as well just set your limit price. And when it gets to that certain point, you could transfer those funds. For me, basically, it's like starting over. I do have Zion Oil and other platforms, but for me, it's like starting over. So everything when I continue to buy Zion Oil, I will continue to buy it from one of my major platforms. Next is I did listen to the Zion Oil podcast. They talked about the transition. I don't want to really say too much on it because what has happened, and I just wish they would have been more forthcoming and that they would have done this earlier. But also at the same time, it caught everybody off guard. And one of the things right now is because there's a lot of day traders, especially on Robinhood and Webull and other platforms, and it does somewhat protect the stock from influence from a lot of day trading. So I do see a positive out of that. But in this update, there's nothing else as far as like the rig or anything else. They just talk about the transition over to the OTC markets. So in order to trade those, you have to be on like E-Trade, Merrill Lynch, TD Ameritrade, and it does cost per trade. So when I buy, I'm going to buy in bulk, especially when it's that cheap, because you're actually giving up extra stocks. TD Ameritrade is like $6.95, E-Trade is like $4.95, so that's a $2 difference. It's $2 more in stocks that you can get when you do trade on like E-Trade. And if you guys have any other suggestions, and let us know, like if you're with Merrill Lynch or any of these other trading platforms, comment on what you use and how much it is per trade when you're trading Zion Oil and Gas. So let's go back to the July 17th update. Okay, in this update, they just talked about the podcast relating to the 3D seismic acquisition, processing, and interpretation, and you could listen to that. And I believe that what was said, and also according to other documents, that they would have that information by the end of third quarter. When that will be released to the public will either be in the third quarter or fourth quarter, any type of results. And of course, it just goes into the hurdles of the border closures, everything that went on with the virus. All their plans are prepared. And that's when they moved the rig out of Romania, 150 plus truckloads to the port of Constanta on the Black Sea. All right, and then it just talks about the cost of per month to secure that rig there. And in this update, they shipped the rig mats from Houston, Texas. So at this point, they pretty much, with the deadline approaching, there were still a lot of things that still had to be done according to this particular update. Now, we did think at one point in time that the ship did arrive, and a lot of people think when you go visit the different Zion Oil and Gas forums, there's still a lot of people that think that the rig is there, and I'm just not saying that. It's other people. There's a lot of other people that are saying that it is there. They just can't announce it, maybe due to security reasons, and that's why I was saying that that's always a possibility. Okay, we're going to go ahead and go over the September 2nd announcement. All right, it just talks about how they announced the completion of the Megiddo Jezreel #2 MJO2 conductor pipe to a depth of 110 feet and provides an operational update. This is a key part of setting up the whole operation. So we'll go ahead and get past that part because, well, the dates that things are supposed to be shipped are going to be the most important, such as the rig and everything else. And they don't really give a date as far as the rig, but it says here, once Israel visas have been issued for Zion's rig crew, Zion's rig will be shipped by sea to Israel. Zion's rig crews in Romania currently in preparing safety certification on the IADC required lifting components in addition to general packing and creating preparations for the move. All right, so apparently, according to what they're saying is the crew in the rig is still, still have not been shipped and they have not been issued visas. So according to what they're saying, they are still there. And then going further, as of today, the wellhead has shipped from the port of Houston and is expected to arrive in Israel on October 5th, 2020. So even if the rig was there, there still are components that would have to be put in place, and one of those components won't get there till October the 5th, right? So just based off what they are saying, the crew hasn't been sent to Israel. The rig has not been shipped as well, right? So we have those two things. I don't expect to find anything about drilling for oil or any kind of results from drilling oil until at least the very minimum the end of October. Maybe November. And then also too, like I said, we look at those 3D seismic results. We got to know if they have an estimated amount of oil that could be down there, and that's going to be a key determining factor as far as what Zion Oil is going to be drilling for, or what they think that might be down there. All right, so I'm on here on Investors Hub, and it's on Investors Hubs for Zion Oil and Gas. It's kind of like they took all this information and put it on the form for Zion Oil. I don't know if this is old information. I'm just going by the information that's on here. But that's one of the things that with the 3D seismic survey, will there be results in there that's going to allow us to see possibly how much recoverable oil there might be there. So you can look here at if it's 10 million, 25 million, 1 billion, and so on. So they kind of do like what the price, an estimated price of per share would be if they found this particular amount. That's the way at least I understand it. And also, so you got to think about the price of the oil is not as high as it was. I do expect the price of oil to go up because I do expect tensions to flare up in the Middle East, especially before the presidential election. And you see what Israel is doing as far as peace agreements with all these countries, and a lot of it has to do with oil and gas. So I do expect some type of response from those people who really want to get at Israel. But that's just my opinion. So when people talk about Zion Oil hitting $100, a share, you're looking at 500 million barrels of oil, at least over that. But like I said, I don't know. This might be depending on also too on the price of gas and oil during this time period when that was put together. All right, so going back to Zion Oil and Gas, it looks like it's gone up just a little bit more. So I do expect a rise, and I do expect people to sell off between the 35-cent mark and the 42-cent mark, because that's where a lot of people invested at. And some people will be transferring their funds, and then of course you have people that are just getting out of the investment altogether. But so for me, I'm just holding on, and I'm just going along with the ride, and hopefully we'll see some good news here in the next few weeks and some really good updates. And I hope Zion Oil does take the time out to communicate with its shareholders as well. So with that being said, Twisted Christian out.